Bonjour, peeps. Hi, this is Neshi Locats. Um, I want to make something defined anyway. Someone who has asked me, what does Bonjour mean? Bonjour is Potawatomi. That's the Native American um, people that I am enrolled with. I'm a tribal member of the Prairie Band Potawatomi Nation. And Bonjour means hello or hi. And peeps are peeps, you know? And so that's what that means. Hello, peeps, Bonjour peeps. Welcome to Star Nation's organization's main fan page here on Facebook. And this is where I do the live stream daily, try to anyway, for the card draw that helps us to understand the energy that's most important for us to know for today. And so today is Friday, September 14th. Yay for Fridays, right? I remember when I used to work for the state of Wisconsin, it was, couldn't wait for TGIF. Start of the weekend, right? Today here in Tomah, Wisconsin, where I live, it's actually a pretty nice morning. It's a little muggy out. Just a little humidity in the air. And the mosquitoes are still around. I ended up having to use that awful stuff called Off. Last night, I had put on a hoodie, a lightweight hoodie, put the hood up so I could take George out a few times. And rather than wearing jeans, though, I was still wearing my capris, and I just sprayed, from my calves on down. And don't like that stuff, but it's effective when it's a swarm of mosquitoes here in Wisconsin. So I hope everything is good with you where you live in the morning. This morning, I saw just now, and the notification about Hurricane Florence making landfall, and it looks like those living in the Carolinas are going to have lots of rain for the next few days. So our prayers are still with them, right? Yeah, hopefully they'll be able to withstand the heavy torrential rains, and that those who have pets are either able to help them get out, or the waters recede and you can go home, right? Yeah. Hey, good morning. Good morning to Rochelle. Glad you're with me. How's mom and puppy? Mom's doing pretty good. She had a nurse's visit the other day, Wednesday, and that went really well. Going to need to do some medicine prescription switch around a little bit, but that should be all right. We're going to pick that up today. And so, she's 99. She's doing good. She's all about watching the hurricane situation in the Carolinas, and also, of course, the Kavanaugh soap opera episodes with the Supreme Court appointments. So yeah, she's busy with that. And Elise is here. Hello, Elise. And if Mary Ann's with us, good morning to you too. And Margaret's with us. Yay. Hey, Jackie. Hi. Just give me the wave. Jocelyn's here. Good morning, Jocelyn. Yay. Yeah, I saw that note, Elise, about the Dropbox working. Yes, good. Elise is one of our helpers with the magazine. She's helping us to do the edit of the final PDF to make sure that we caught as many as the typos and those kinds of things. And so we're very grateful for Lisa's assistance with that. And so, sometimes technology is grand. It does help our lives a lot, but when it doesn't work quite the way we expect it to, it can be a real pain. And so thank you, Elise, for hanging in there and getting Dropbox to work for you. I did get the message. I've been a little busy. I'm working with a client this afternoon. She's moving into a new apartment and wanted some assistance. So I don't take many clients anymore. I do on occasion, only because Star Nation keeps me really, really busy. And between mom and now George, I have, very little extra time. But I had promised this client, who had been a client of mine like 15 years ago, or maybe even longer. Hadn't seen each other or heard from each other for quite a few years. And out of the blue, she contacts me, and so of course, I said yes, because I don't have to travel to her. I can do this from a distance, and so of course, I was going to try to help the best I can, right? So that's this afternoon's work. Actually, I'm kind of looking forward to it. Haven't done it in a while. When is my mom's birthday? In June. In June, so it's past. She turned 99. Now she's working on 100. And George, the puppy, George is doing pretty well. George, he's teething, and he's getting those growth spurts. I want to say that his legs look longer. Of course, at 4 o'clock in the morning, it's not exactly you're not exactly awake enough to really tell. But he's doing really well. He's doing really well. We're switching his puppy food from one brand to another, and so that's taking us a little time. I don't want to rush it and put his digestive tract into a healing crisis kind of thing, right? So that's what we're working on right now, and also name recognition. And so he's been with us. It'll be 2 weeks, and so he responds to his name, I would say about, I don't know, 40% of the time, if you can get his attention. And so yesterday I started training with treats. I know. Is that reward? Or is that behavior modification? Or is that manipulation? I'm not sure. But anyway, we need to get him to recognize his name and to come when he's called, right? So that's what we're working on. Yeah. Yep, and Melissa's saying, looking forward to editing for some of the writers as well. Love doing it. Yeah, I haven't made the announcement yet to the writers. I'm going to do that probably sometime this weekend. I'm trying to think of what's all going on. See, we're also preparing for a class, but I can fit that in. It's not a huge thing to write an email or post to somebody, so we can do that. This morning's card draw had me walking down memory lane a little bit, and I'll show you why. This is the card that came this morning. It says, I know that karma does not mean suffering or punishment. Does not mean suffering or punishment. On the back side, it says, you are here to learn, not to suffer. Karma is the result of your past actions allowing you to learn and grow, right? Yeah. Yeah, I had to, it took me down a little trip down memory lane, because when I first started doing, I was going to bring that book with me. Darn, forgot a book I was going to show you. All right, so maybe what I'll do is I will do that for you guys tomorrow, okay? When I get down to the house, back down to the house, down to the library, I'll pull that book and we'll continue this discussion a little bit tomorrow. There is a way to be able to see what kind of earth karma you have using numerology. And I haven't used that in a really long time. And it, of course, our name that we were born with tells us a lot about ourselves here on earth and this time around, right? And so you can see, figure out what kind of earth karma you came in with, meaning that in a past life that you created karma, and in order to balance the karma out, you pick it up into the next lifetime, okay? So when we're between lives, when we are back into spirit, as a spirit, there is no karma, and there's not that we can't balance out karma when we're in spirit. It's only when we're having a physical experience, like here on Earth or another planet, that we can balance out that karma, because we created it when we were in physical form, right? And so that's kind of where my thoughts took me this morning after I read the card. Is it really is helpful to know what you came in with, right? And there's other ways you can find out too. It's just not numerology. You can have your Akashic records read. We've got a couple of really good readers here at Star Nations. There is Julie Hedges does Akashic record reading. So does, I think Polly Joe also does. I want to say yes to that. I can do it, but my time is a little limited, but I can help if I can. And then Meg also, Margaret, also is an Akashic record reader as well. But she's no longer part of Star Nation's organization. But she's still a good Akashic record reader, and you can also contact her if you want your records read. And really with the intention of what is the karma that I'm currently carrying, and how can I balance it out, kind of thing, because that sits in your life record, your soul's record, right? And here is something that I thought, well, maybe we need to define karma, because karma comes out of Hinduism, right? And if we didn't grow up in that culture, in that belief system, sometimes it's hard to really understand it, right? To really take it in. And definitions from another culture kind of get distorted when it comes through interpretation, language interpretation. So if it's in Hindu and Sanskrit, and then it's being translated from that language to maybe, well, we'll just say English, because there's probably a couple of languages in between to get that translation, is that old saying, something gets lost in the translation. That is so true. That is so true. And so here, when I looked up karma, and it's Hinduism and Buddhism, okay? And so here's the definition. It says the sum of a person's actions in this and previous states of existence, viewed as deciding their fate in future existence. Some may call it destiny or fate. It's also following the law of attraction, universal law of effect from cause. Okay, so basically, what we do in this lifetime that creates karma gets carried over into the next lifetime. So it's beneficial for us to balance out any karma while we're here. It kind of follows the Christian axiom of the golden rule: do unto others as they do unto you. Okay. And so what you try to do is you try to do what's termed as good, right? If you're doing the good and bad thing. But that isn't karma. Karma doesn't necessarily bring punishment, nor does it bring, what do you say, suffering. Okay, so karma does not mean suffering or punishment. What it means is balance. So if your behavior, your words create a situation, and you feel that it caused, we'll call drama, karma and drama, right? That if you created the karma, then it's up to you to balance the karma. And so when you balance, what happens? You do something in the opposite direction, right? To balance it out. So if you created a situation by word or by deed, then what you need to do is by word or by deed to bring that back into balance. Let's think of an example. Okay, they're talking about George in the chat. Elise says, stay away from grain foods. Dog don't do well with foods on that grain. Yeah, I know that. our previous dog, Ginger, was on a raw food diet. With George, he is on a raw food instinctive diet. It's a brand. And so there's no grain in it. There is freeze-dried protein in that particular food. So vegetables and some freeze-dried fruit too. It's hard to say. Yeah, no grains. Yeah. And Mary Anderson Fry's here. Good morning, Mary. And Cindy Lynn's with us. Hey, Cindy Lynn. Good morning. And Rochelle says, my name means Little Rock. Yeah, your interpretation of it, the definition of it. But what I was getting at, Rochelle, is using your name, your birth name, and the letters equivalent to a number, and then adding them up. Okay, we'll do that tomorrow. I'll bring my resource book, and we'll do that together tomorrow. We'll work on our names together. Okay, and then I can share with you what the Earth karma number, that basically out of your name, your full name, your first name, your middle name, and your last name of your birth name. Not your married name, not the name that you switched to when you found that you were a spirit. I've had some people change their names, right? So my birth name is not, I would not be using Beneshi Kweb, my spirit name. I'd be using my birth name. And we'll do that tomorrow. We'll get that all added up, okay? All right. And so Elise is saying, is talking to Cindy Lynn, just talked to you, glad you haven't blown away. See, Cindy Lynn lives in South Carolina. Rochelle says, Carolyn Franklin. Carl Franklin does not do numerology or Akashic record. What he does is life script, which is similar to your soul contract. I think that's another word for soul contract. Yeah, that's not Akasha. Yeah. Yeah, that Rochelle says, I'm a 1. That is probably your life path number. I'm talking about your earth karma number, and which is completely different. It does take into effect some of the life path, but it really has more to do with the vowels in your name, the vowels. Yeah. So we'll get to that tomorrow. I'll bring the book in and we'll get that done. See, I'm hesitating because I don't have my list of the alphabet and its corresponding number. It goes from 1 to 9 and then starts over again, right? And so it's much easier when you have the list in front of you. When you have the list in front of you to get to the letter and the number corresponding. Okay, so what we know about karma is here it says that you are here to learn, not to suffer. Karma is the result of your past actions, allowing you to learn and to grow. And in some ways, that's the part that we try to ignore. Is the balancing out of karma. It can be, if we catch it soon enough, it can be quite easy to balance out. But if we hold off on it, or we get into the situation of wanting to be right, that you have to prove that you're right in a confrontation or a situation. And so you get caught up, your mental mind gets caught up in proving that you're right, rather than seeing or sensing the lesson that's available to you, right? And so when we're balancing out the karma, it's in the balance is where we find the life lesson, that gem that helps us with to have another growth spurt for our soul. Yeah, because we're here to experience, and in that experience, we're learning along the way. We have our soul contract that's set up where we have certain I will call it big letter learning, that we had designed our contract for, right? And in order to reach that bigger soul growth period, there's a lot of little things that happen. And many times we call that sometimes synchronicities. Sometimes it's called fate. And so when things happen to us and we call it negative, that we're sensing it as a negative, depending on our belief system, that we have an idea of what we need to balance out and learn. For example, let's take a belief system first. In feng shui, came to the United States via China. So that's why it's called Chinese feng shui. Feng shui is a Chinese word, okay? But many other cultures have similar ways of working with energy, the flow of energy. It's not called feng shui because that's a Chinese word, but because it comes from China, many of the definitions and many of the trying to find a good word for this, adjustments that we do in feng shui is based on Chinese culture and Chinese belief systems. Okay, so the number four in Chinese feng shui, many try to stay away from that number because in Chinese, the number four, the word for it, can sound very similar to the word death. And so you kind of like how we skip over the number 13 here in the United States because of a belief system. They skip over the number 4 because it's not an auspicious number. Whereas in Native American culture, number 4 is a very auspicious number. Doesn't mean death at all. It talks about the 4 directions, the 4 elements, that are connection to Grandmother Earth. So when we're balancing out our karma, we have to look at what belief system are we following to do that, right? And what beliefs, it could be a belief system that actually set it up. Your belief in how something needs to be done or not done, and someone goes against that. And so you find yourself in a friction kind of moment, right? Yeah. Mary's saying for every action, there's a natural reaction. Exactly. It's a universal law, cause and effect. And so when we're in a situation and we get the nudge that, what did I just do? What did I just say? I might have created some karma here. And if you're into dowsing, you can douse on it. You can ask the question, did I just create earth karma? Yeah, I did. Okay. So now it's up to you to figure out how to balance it out. And a lot of times it's going back to the same person and having a conversation. Doesn't mean that you have to agree. You can agree to disagree in a good way, right? In a Native American sense, in a traditional sense, we're trying to do it with a good heart, in a good way. Yeah. So I was just sitting here thinking, okay, so a good example of creating karma. Oh, okay. This one just popped in. Thank you to my guides, whoever gave that one to me, is that any kind of road rage that creates karma. You might not even know the person that you just flipped off, or wouldn't let them cut in front of you. And because your emotions are very worked up. You got a lot of emotion behind it, right? Or it might not even be on the road. It could be in the grocery store. That would be mine. The grocery store. I never go grocery shopping on a Saturday. Paul does about 90% of the grocery shopping. That should tell you something. It's how we react to in that grocery store when you have people visiting. You can tell they know each other, and they're visiting in the aisle, and they have their carts positioned so that you can't get by without interrupting their conversation to get by. And sometimes when you say, "Excuse me," they look at you like, we're talking here. It's like, and so many times what I do is I just stop, turn around, and go around the other direction. Go around the next aisle, come from the other direction, down the aisle I wanted to get through. So you have to also look at the triggers on that. Why did that make me angry? Why did it flip that switch? I was having such a good time, and then I came upon these two people, and they have such a bad attitude. The conversation you have with yourself, right? Yeah. So in some ways, depending on what you said, whether it was out loud or in your mind about these two people, or what you said to them and how you said that could create karma. That could create karma. Yeah. Sometimes we do it unintentionally, sometimes we do it subconsciously. Elisa's saying Mary Beth's last dog was named Karma. Just a rescued mutt, but that dog was the sweetest, most loving and patient dog I'd ever seen. Yeah. That's sweet. So the important thing here, I believe, is that when we recognize, when we sense that we have created a karmic debt, that's what it's called, a karmic debt, by our word or by our deed, it's good to balance that out while you're still here in physical form. So you don't have to take that karmic debt with you in your luggage, in your baggage, going into the next life, right? And it does make your current life flow a lot smoother too. Because sometimes that weighs on our mind, it weighs on our hearts, because we treated somebody in a certain way, and we are causing ourselves suffering. We are causing to maybe even punishment in a way, when we do that self-talk. That was really dumb. Why did I say that? Or why did I do that? Throw your hands up in the air and you say, now I just created karma. So even with that, because we called ourselves dumb, or some other word that is really degrading, right? If someone used that word to a friend of ours, somebody who we love, somebody who is very close to us, those would be fighting words. You don't call her that. That's so disrespectful. We would be telling them that they need to apologize for that, because that was uncalled for. You can have a disagreement. You don't have to use mean words to have a disagreement. You don't have to call somebody a degrading name. So why would we call ourselves that, right? So you see how karma can be easily created when we're unconscious to our actions. At a soul level, we already know that. It's like, okay, we got to take care of this. We got to clean up. We got to clean up and clean up the debris, clean up the mess that we just made. And so we find a way to be able to apologize from the heart. Maybe sit down and have the conversation and say, you know, I was kind of emotional about that, but you know, I had a little time to think about it, and I'd like to have that conversation now, if you'd like. And or asking them, can we sit down and talk about that? Because I want to see it from another perspective. I know my perspective, but I want to see it from another perspective, and that's yours. And so I'd like to listen to what you have to say. You know, it might take some time to calm down about it, and that's okay. Yeah, you know, and sometimes we don't mean to do it. At least that's what we tell ourselves. It's like when mom, when she was in a great deal of pain, and I had stopped teaching. Oh, that was so hard. I had to cancel classes and refund thousands of dollars worth of registration fees. I had to cancel teaching venues. You know, it took weeks in order to get that all situated. And because I'd get up in the middle of the night to help mom with the pain. I wasn't sleeping much at the time. You know, short spurts, right? I had made a scheduled a lunch with a friend here, and breakfast. It was a late breakfast. That was it, a late breakfast. It was after I got done taking care of mom for the morning, you know, get myself cleaned up, and then I was going to meet her, I don't know, like around 9:30 or so. And it was on a Sunday, if I remember right. Could have been Saturday. But anyway, I forgot. I was so tired, I forgot. Paul said, I'll stay up and do the 10 o'clock snack and get lunch started. Why don't you go up and take a nap? He didn't have to tell me twice. I went up and I slept. And I get this telephone call. Was just falling asleep, and I get this telephone call, and it was her, this friend of mine, asking me where I was. And I told her I was just falling asleep and explained it. She got really upset with me. And yeah. And I was so tired to begin with, then my attitude kicked in. It was not a good exchange on the phone. And so a few days, and I'm talking a few days, I'm talking probably a good couple weeks passed before I could actually sit down and actually say I'm sorry and have it come from my heart. I could do that. She was not ready to listen to that. God, no. It took her another probably month and a half, 2 months before she could even sit down and talk about it. But we did, and I did apologize to her, and said, you know, that because I knew that she has an issue with abandonment, and I knew that, you know, how badly she feels about those kinds of things. And I even told her that, and I said, and that was just thoughtless, really thoughtless. And I said, there's no excuse for it, no excuse. An explanation, but no excuse. And but it did change our friendship. It did. We can sit down and have, you know, a cordial conversation, but we're not as close as we used to be. So try, you know, all I can do is make amends from my side of it. We can't make the other person respond to it the way that we want them to, right? And so all I can do is my side. And so it did take some time, but that's really, really difficult to do. sometimes, is that's where we get the suffering and the pain, punishment thing from, is that in trying to bring ourselves to the point of making amends and balancing out that karma. Balancing out that karma. Yeah. So that karma. You know, when we first started talking about this, and I brought the definition to you, I was saying sometimes there's misinterpretation. Sometimes there's something lost in the translation of a word from one language into maybe a couple others until it reaches English. And so karma takes on, how do I want to say this? It takes on different nuances. That's a good one. Nuances for each explanation of it. Yeah. So, if we were sitting here with a Buddhist or a Hindu, and we were having this discussion of karma, and they grew up in, we'll call it a more traditional way of being in their culture, they may have a different explanation for karma. They just might. It's something to keep in mind, right? That's why I said, to bring it into a culture, into a belief that you understand, and that you can understand with all your senses, is much better than trying to fit it into something that we really don't understand, that we don't know exactly what that word is supposed to be. So when we say that we treat others the way that we would like to be treated, we would like to be treated with kindness. We would like to be treated with respect, right? And so that, to me, is much more important. The intention is much more important than trying to fit our lives into something that we don't really completely understand. Yeah. Does that make sense? For those in the chat, do you feel that you have created earth karma? It's a loaded question, isn't it? Do you feel like you have created earth karma? That's a good one. Yeah. I don't know. You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to ask you guys to like and to share. I'm just going to go in and like it at least, because we're almost finished, for goodness sake. As I like and got to turn down my sound. All right. Yeah. So karma. I was going to look up dharma too, but I thought that's going a little bit further into it than I think we really need to get. I think it's more important that we understand what today's energy is about and how it's flowing to us. And if we take that karma does not mean suffering and punishment, right? That doesn't mean suffering and punishment. The suffering and punishment comes into play when we think about it that way. When we know that we've created some earth karma in just what we said or did, and then we try to rationalize it, try to make it right, that we're the ones that are right, get into the right and wrong thing, and then we drag our feet in trying to balance it out. We know what we need to do. It's just getting it done. And it's in the doing part that we create, I believe, that we create the punishment or we create the suffering. We don't need to do that. We don't need to do that. We just have to You know, apologize. Sit down and have and listen to someone else's perspective of something. Doesn't mean we have to agree with it. We just have to respect that they have a different point of view. A different point of view. Yeah. So we're going to see about how the energy flows today, how it unfolds with this thought about, am I creating karma? And if I did, how do I balance that out? Or maybe watching how someone does this. You know, you can see it in play, right? You can see it unfolding in front of you, and then watching how the other person, how do they balance or not balance out that karma? Yeah. Deep thoughts for a Friday morning. So, what's coming up? Just a little brief update on getting ready for the class that's coming up on the 22nd. I'm finishing up painting today, and we're going to be situating the new bathroom, and that will be done. That should be done by tomorrow morning, and sitting down and getting everything prepared to make the medicine pouches, to get those pieces laid out for the students to be able to make their own medicine pouches. Yeah, and then of course, preparing the space for the other teacher, Minnie Kansman. She's coming in next week Thursday, and so then we'll set up the classroom together. And so so we're getting prepared for that class. It's called The Magic of Hogwarts on September 22nd, 23rd. We're working on the early beginnings of the October issue of Star Nations magazine. I also have to line up the special edition of the magazine as well. That's probably going to come out more toward November, December. I try to get it out in October, but that's not going to happen this year. Maybe we'll do a special edition for the December issue. Yeah. Which a special edition means for those who have an iPhone or iPad, that will be a free issue. For those who have an Android mobile device through Google Play, you do apps through Google Play, that'll be 99 cents, because we used to do free through Google, but they changed their policies about 2 years ago. And so the least amount that you can charge for a magazine is 99 cents. All right, so that's through the digital. For the print on demand, through our partners at MagCloud, it's the cost of printing only, and shipping. And so, yeah. And if you do MagCloud digital, it's free for the digital through MagCloud. For the PDF or for the web viewer. So we got a couple good things coming up, right? And we're also working with a new author coming up, going to be publishing her book probably in March of 2019. We're working on that too. And also we've got a couple of authors, a couple of show hosts here that we're going to be publishing a collection of Orchard and Carl Franklin's articles, a collection of them. I was going to do that this year. I don't know if we're going to make it. Possibly early next year. We're still working on that. And Polly Joe has a book that's going to be coming out in 2019 that we're gearing up for. So we got publishing end. We've got the gears down. Yeah. Oh, Elise, look, that's great. She says her copy of the print on demand arrived. That's great. That's great. That's her first copy she helped edit. So excellent. See, listen, anything and everything you heard about the karma stuff, right, today, if it resonated with you, you know what you do? Embrace it. Grab it. And watch how your day unfolds and how you can use it or witness it. Learn from it, right? If it didn't resonate, that's okay. You can just let it lie, or you can share the recorded video with someone who you feel would enjoy or benefit from the information. Yeah, and tomorrow I will bring my numerology information. And should we do some numerology tomorrow, and help you understand how you can tell through your name, your birth name, what kind of karmic debt you brought with you from the previous life, if you brought any, right? We could do that. You know, I was supposed to do, I tried to do, I should say, every month through the Star Nations Academy closed group, a special mini class, free mini class on shamanic journey. And that should have been last night, but you know what? We just got so much going on that there's just no way I could energetically, my physical energy, be up to do another live stream in a class besides. So why don't we turn tomorrow into a mini class on numerology and karmic debt? How would you like that? We won't do the card draw necessarily. Okay, we'll continue working on this one, and we'll help you figure out if you had any karmic debt coming. All right, pass the word along. Because I usually don't do a lot of promotion for this particular live stream. So if you have friends that you think that would like to hear a little bit more about numerology and how to use it to find out karmic debt, they can join us. Okay? All right. Enjoy the rest of your Friday, and we'll see you back here tomorrow, Saturday, 10 a.m. Central, 11 Eastern, and we'll work on finding your karmic debt if you have any, okay? All right. Ba Mamina, until we see each other again, and I love you guys.